New part of Exile 2 League is coming out in 2 days, and we're gonna do a quick recap of the entire patch, or should I say, of the update 0.2.0. Let's not waste time, let's go. So the most important and the most notable thing would be a fresh start, economy reset, or should I say everyone starts from scratch. And that's probably the most important thing, because the economy was broken for the first version of the early access, yeah. So now everyone starts again. The next most important note would be a new playable class, that would be the Huntress. And the game also added additional ascendancies, or should I say subclasses, for Merc, Warrior, and 2 new subclasses for the Huntress, the new class, which also received a Lich ascendancy. They added over 25 new skills, primarily the spear skills, which means we're gonna see a lot of spear weapons in this league. 100 new gem supports are added, 2 new item types, spears and bucklers, so now we got mini shields in terms of bucklers. Wonder how that's gonna look like. 100 new unique items, 8 new endgame maps with new encounters and new rewards. The unique strong boxes for unique items, okay, same like in Path of Exile 1. Then they added Rogue Exiles from Path of Exile 1. For those that don't know what Rogue Exiles are, it's very simple. You get attacked by characters that look like you. That's the best I can describe. You can get one-shotted. That would be the Rogue Exiles. That's the new content for the season. Asmerian Wisps. Now, I never seen that, and that's a brand new content. It doesn't exist in Path of Exile 1. Spirits that can be found throughout both the campaign and the endgame. As you approach these wisps, they will flee, leading you past monsters. Any monsters it comes into contact with are infused by the spirit, making them more powerful and the spirit more rewarding. Let them get away for too long, they'll dissipate and return to the woods. So, you gotta chase the spirit. Once it possesses a monster, it's gonna drop good rewards if you kill the monster possessed by the wisp. That's the new content, including the Rogue Exiles. New suckable items. Then they added the Twilight Reliquary Key. What is it for? Basically extra rewards, okay? You get a new key type, a new chest type, you unlock, and more rewards pop. You can now corrupt essences with Val. Nothing special to be honest, but it's a solid change so far. So now we go to the endgame changes. And I really hated endgame in the first version of early access because of the citadels. You could not find the citadels, the game was prolonging way too much. There was only one death per map. All of that freaking sucked. The game was not balanced well, it was not optimized well. You die because of lag, you lose a map. There were plenty of freaking problems when I was playing on day one. I know they patched a lot of things up, I wasn't playing since then, but I'm gonna play it now, and I wanna see what the changes are. Each faction has a new boss, cleanse the source of corruption. Corruption, Nexus, and how corruption spreads is changed. Additional corruption monster factions have been introduced. Animations, visuals improved. The further you go, the harder the area will be. Okay, logic. There is a fracturing orb introduced. When you cleanse a nexus, all the maps around the nexus will be cleansed as well. What does it mean? It speeds up the clear time of the world map, which is great. If you wanna play a nexus map, it's gotta be corrupted 4 times. Or should I say, it should have 4 modifiers. You can now respawn and return to map if you die. Upon first entering the endgame, you're gonna have 6 total numbers of attempt per map. As you add more modifiers, the number of respawns goes down, which means you're gonna have like 1 respawn on maximum tier maps, and you're gonna have 6 respawns on tier 1, which is extremely important. This is the best change that I've seen in a game, because it was way too freaking brutal. For me that love brutal games, it was way too brutal, because again, you die because of lag, and what's the freaking point? Until the game is stable, you can't make it one life only. The game has to be stable. Very simple. In parties, everyone will get to respawn that number of times, okay, so they don't use 6 portals like in Path of Exile 1, they use Everyone has their own portals, basically. You can enter and exit maps as much as you like as long as you haven't died. The number of portals is representative of the number of revives, so it's not like Path of Exile 1, you can spam portal back. The number of towers on the Atlas has been reduced drastically. Each one is now more powerful. Thank God I hated towers. Towers should be short and challenging, and that's about it, and they did just that. Tablets are giving twice as many mechanics to towers now because there are less towers. Now they need to make tablets stronger to upgrade those towers, yeah, which is logical as well. I like the changes so far. Tower maps can now spawn bosses. Nice. The number of maps that you have packed by tablets has been doubled. Extra content such as Breach, Delirium, Expedition and Ritual now start spawning further away from the Ziggurat Refuge. So you won't see Breach, Delirium, Expedition and Ritual immediately when you start the endgame. You're gonna play classic white maps without those modifiers. For me personally, this was the most annoying thing in the game. Low tier waystones that drop when you play the highest tier maps. I was freaking out when I needed tier 15 map and the game gives me tier 2. That won't happen anymore. Now waystones cannot drop lower map than the tier you're currently in. So if you play 15, it's gonna drop 15 or 16. Waystones that the bosses drop will always be one tier higher. Maps will always be one tier higher when you kill a boss. Extremely important change. Now I like it, now I'm gonna play it. You can now buy up to 10 waystones at Doriani. Unique maps give more rewards, more XP and so on. They made Delirium, Simulacrum, Breach more stable and overall better. That's how it is. Now they changed how Atlas passive 3 works. There are more passives on the Atlas, which is great, because I thought that was a very poor skill tree when I played 3-4 months ago. And instead of 30 points, now you can obtain up to 40 points, because the tree expanded. More stuff to do, basically. Strong boxes will appear during the campaign. Now you need to be level 50 to enter the endgame area. This entire player changes here, depends on the different classes and so on. It's not that important, it really depends what you're gonna play, so there is no need to pass through that. They changed all ascendances, or should I say they didn't change, they're just balancing things, numbers, percentages and so on. Again, this all depends what you play in a game, as well as passive skill tree and all the changes. We're gonna see that when we play. Again, it really depends what class and ascendancy you try to play. Now the skill changes, again, these are all numbers and mathematics and so on. No one cares about it. You see what's happening once you start playing, yeah. Support gem changes, unique items as well, that they gonna change drastically in the next year or so, so it's not really that important to check that. As well as all item changes. Let me see the items though with currency. Runes have 3 tiers, double the drop rate of runes, increased base damage on crossbows, increased rarity of items found modifiers on all items, buffed gear, basically from jewels to classic items, belt, gloves, everything is buffed up to match up the game and how it's expanding. Okay, that just increased numbers, so more enemies, more tiers, more modifiers equals all of this entire update, bigger numbers to accommodate for all the new things they added. Nothing special, to be honest. It's logical they're gonna do that. All armor on monsters is reduced by 30%. They balanced out all bosses in a game. Quality of life upgrades and improvements everywhere, including how you level up, skill gems, everything is more visible now. UI is clearer, to be more precise, that's the update. Better user interface. They added bunch of new microtransactions, which is also great. Tons of bug fixes. A lot of bug fixes and the things that could not make into the game, and that's about it. So to put it up short, I didn't want to pass through every single line again. Those are percentages, how the game scales and so on. It's not important because it's gonna change again and again and again for 10 times in a row until the full release. That's why we're not passing through numbers. What's important to say is a fresh start, the economy reset. Everyone starts from scratch. That's extremely important because you won't have anyone to exploit the currency anymore and the entire market. The next thing is the new playable class, and the end game is way much better than it used to be with some drastic changes and the pace of the game. I would say, according to this patch, the pace of the game is actually way much faster than it used to be when I was playing 4 months ago. I will play again, I wanna test it out. I like the changes, the game is going into great direction so far. That would be the patch notes for the update O2O that's coming out in 2 days from now. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching.